The Lilmothiit are a race of beastfolk thought to be long extinct. The fate of their race is unknown, and the only information we have on them comes from the book Pocket Guide to the Empire 3rd edition Black Marsh and the Elder Scrolls novel Infernal City. The Lilmothiit were said to resemble the Khajiit, except they were vulpine or fox-like. They inhabited the southern coastal regions of the Black Marsh, including the city of Blackrose, which they founded, and Lilmoth, which likely has a connection to the origin of the race's name. This is pure speculation, but the word Khajiit means desert dweller, so perhaps Lilmothiit means dweller or inhabitant of Lilmoth. Lilmothiit civilization was primitive and tribal. Moreover, it is thought that the Lilmothiit were nomadic or partially nomadic. This conjecture seems to contradict the fact that the Lilmothiit founded Blackrose and possibly inhabited Lilmoth, but perhaps they began as nomads, and as their society evolved, they settled down and founded these cities. Scholars from the Elder Scrolls universe believe that the Lilmothiit were related to the Khajiit, and in fact the two may even be distant relatives. It is also quite likely that their language is similar, given that both of their names end in the suffix "eat". The Lilmothiit may have at some point come into contact with the Akaviri, as at one point the Akaviri were using Lilmothiit ruins as prison grounds. The disappearance of the Lilmothiit is a mystery, but there are a few theories on their disappearance. First and most likely is they were wiped out by the Knahaten flu of 2nd Era 580, which killed everything non-reptilian in the Black Marsh. Another possibility is they were wiped out in a war with another race, perhaps the Akaviri or the Argonians. One final possibility is they never existed in the first place and are simply the product of twisted legend. This again is speculation, but perhaps a tribe of Khajiit one day migrated over to the Black Marsh and were mistaken for an entirely different race. Whether or not the Lilmothiit could return in the Elder Scrolls universe is a difficult question to answer. Given that the Black Marsh is a big and largely unexplored province, it is entirely possible that remnants of the Lilmothiit still exist somewhere in hiding. What I could see happening is something similar to the Dawnguard DLC, in which we learn more about Snow Elf society and culture, why they disappeared and so on, except for the Lilmothiit, and perhaps we will meet one or two remnants of the Lilmothiit race. But on the other hand, a large-scale return of the race is extremely unlikely, especially given that the Knahaten flu should have wiped them all out. In sum, the Lilmothiit were a fascinating, but above all mysterious race. Even more so than the other forgotten races, we have precious little information on why they were wiped out, and what role exactly they played in history. But this only makes the prospect of learning more about them in future Elder Scrolls games all the more exciting.